Hiya, and welcome back to Moonlight Castle. The game... the game that teaches us that... I can't think of anything. I am bad at thinking. I am bad... Oh, wait. The game that teaches us that in these conditions, Joel can't live, laugh, love. Anyways, let's just hop right in. I chuckled and allowed him inside. I tend to confuse voices sometimes, so hearing your name would be nice. You don't have to, but... Oh, wait. For real? Ah, shit. Yeah, that's cats. I tend to confuse voices sometimes, so hearing your name would be nice. You don't have to, but he didn't reply. Just rolled his eyes, and that was my cue to cut this conversation short. Hole, our beloved. Make yourself at home, I guess? I didn't have much, and this bare-bones room had nothing to show. Dylan made a beeline for my bed and dove in, grunting a few words of relief as he moved around to get comfy in it. He was supposed to get into that chair. This bed sucks! Then get up. It will hurt your back if you keep using it. Was that some subtle concern toward me? I couldn't figure it out with the way he was glaring at me. I can't afford anything else. Ugh. Of course everything is about money. The tone of his voice suggested disappointment or dissatisfaction, but I believe that was all he wanted. Isn't money the reason why you followed Liam everywhere? Dylan scoffed, but he didn't answer my question. Was I wrong? I'm not blaming you. We all needed to survive, and there's nothing wrong with that. You gotta pay for your house, your studies, food, water, utilities, and your bike. I thought I could turn them all on one hand. I thought I could count them all on one hand. Damn, it's really expensive now that I think about it. An average paying job couldn't cover this much. Liam's organization can. Oh, so is this job like an official group or an institution of some kind? He shrugged as I watched his tail shifting around, then flopped off the bed. Dunno. I work through Liam because the guys in charge make background checks. I can't have this bastard snooping around. Lynx was the one handling it all, huh? I, unfortunately, knew why he was working undercover. I know that talking isn't your thing, but I invited you here for a reason. Dylan faced the ceiling and placed his arms behind his head. A soft grunt followed suit. It's a lot of shit. I don't mind. Of course you don't. I'll be the one talking for the rest of the freaking day while you're chilling on that chair. He even closed his eyes and tried sleeping his way out of this conversation. Can't you just give up or something? Stay home and pretend this never happened. I'll decide that at the end of our conversation. Gotta listen to my fairy tale first, am I right? Making fun of me won't change my mind. Fine, get on with it then. He was either being extremely uncooperative or he was still trying to stop me from learning more. I'm going to start simple, okay? We'll save the worst for last. Either way, I couldn't stop now. I already mentioned this, but you knew what my headache meant, yet you didn't say anything. Why? I said I'd protect you, didn't I? Hiding stuff from you is part of the deal. Huh. That was some insane mental gymnastics. You have the potential to be a medium, idiot. So they were correlated then. Is that knowledge itself dangerous? It was sweet of him to try to shield me from a possible mistake. Usually mediums reveal their talent when they acknowledge it. I see, that does sound tricky to deal with. We had to get your consent before revealing that you're a medium. Yeah, that didn't age well. I thought Dylan was at least upholding it. Say no. I chuckled a bit. He was still trying. That cleared up some things, like the weird feeling I experienced whenever I interacted with the occult. So, what does it mean? He saw it happening. He had to have something to guide me through it. That you're a medium? Please tell me he knew more than that. Keep going. You only reacted. Nothing else happened because I stopped that. He gave me an annoyed look, like this was the reason why he didn't want to explain. It was a disappointing conversation so far. What about me passing out in the library? His grumpy energy quickly faded away. That must have been a good question. I've been thinking about that too. His expression changed to be more focused, recalling the things he witnessed back then. You have yet to figure out what you can do, but somehow you're able to use your power anyway. That came across as an impossible action. I only remember that I felt angry. I was angry at you, at myself, at this world, and that feeling of injustice really struck a chord. A smile formed in the corners of his mouth. I like that. Be angry more often. You and Liam have been pushing me over the edge a lot these days. Good. Don't let anyone step on you. Unless it's me. He grinned. I wasn't sure if that was a joke. You're not getting any special privileges. Everything he said felt both sarcastic and annoyed. Hiya. I don't need to ask you. I rolled my eyes and gave up on this conversation altogether. You're getting sidetracked. So, your power forcefully came out and your body couldn't handle it. He immediately resumed from where we left off. You were lucky Liam had that water on hand. I remembered feeling different after drinking it. It tasted strange. You drank holy water, that's why. Like, the water priests use during ceremonies? You're supposed to either throw it on a ghost or drink it yourself to heal. Alright, I'd stop him here before he starts calling it a magic potion. Okay. I'm following so far. We're walking into crazy territory, but at least things still have logic. Liam said something about me breaking my own emotions. I didn't understand that part well. Imagine possession, but like, doing it yourself. Fight you in the back of a Wendy's at 2 a.m. That is very fucking specific. That is very specific. That genuinely startled me. Possession? Like, taking over someone? It was scary to think about. I'd seen that shit in movies, and you have to wait and see what you're telling us, but yeah, ghosts can do that. I felt like Patrice, knowing that his fears were totally justified. That castle is full of ghosts! Dylan pushed me away, not wanting to hear my whining up close. Why the fuck are you screaming? They can't get into you that easily. Hearing that calmed me down temporarily, but I wanted more. Then... No. I won't tell you about that. Your brain is going crazy thinking about it. Look. As long as your mind is stable, no ghost can get inside. That's why you have to stay calm. Fine, I understand. I took a deep breath. We'd have to leave this conversation for later. He wouldn't tell me now, but I plan to ask again. Then you'll have to explain why you've been pushing me away. Quite literally in some cases. Ugh, give it a rest, will you? I can't do that. Tonight we're going back to the castle, and it's obviously going to be dangerous. I need to know what's happening beforehand. The others also deserve a proper warning. You were warned, but you decided not to listen. You could feel it all along. You knew the castle was bad news. Liam did hide how fucked up the curse really is, but nobody was forced to come. That's what he said, but he didn't mean any of it. He had to have manipulated us into coming for whatever reason. He was after you and Clyde. The others happened to be pressured by you two, which worked in his favor. Clyde and I, that only divided my guilt into two and shipped the other half to the dragon. Don't ask me why I targeted you two. I wasn't given that information. You're a medium. But Clyde? Clyde is... I mean, who wouldn't want Clyde in their group? Clyde is fucking fancy. I strive to be like Clyde. I would love to be like Clyde. But even then, that's not my goal. I am barely in my 20s and I am already sick of this decade in my life. I am already sick of this current period in my life. I would like to skip to my 30s where I can have a tea party with my cat and not be judged for it. That is my goal in life. To have a successful tea party with my cat and not be judged by society. That is my goal in life. My cat's batshit insane. He shrugged. If children can have tea parties with cats, then why can't we? I shake my head. I would like to make a proposal. Mandatory nap time. Because naps are fucking amazing. No fucking clue. How bad is it? My tongue felt so dry when I spoke those words. No response, but he clearly heard me. How bad is this castle? He looked at me with a piercing stare, with not a single blink. I felt so vulnerable. But I rarely nap. You'd rather go back to single digits? Yeah, but like, I also didn't like my single digits or my teenage years. I did not like looking back, other than like 5 or 6 moments, I did not like the previous 20 years, other than like 5 or 6 moments, but eh. Stupid people will die. Curses are serious. I knew he was tiptoeing around the real answer. I felt responsible for allowing this to happen in the first place because I got selfish. Liam gave me that role and I naively took it. Relax, Liam won't let them die. I didn't believe him. How can you say that to me when you know exactly what kind of person he is? And call it off, pick up your phone and tell Ryan to stay home. Now he was provoking me like he wanted me to take action instead of letting it happen. Well, I think it's too late for anybody else to reconsider. I've seen the look on their faces. He grinned, showing me a toothy smile. Everyone's been hiding ulterior motives. I felt so powerless. Life enjoyed torturing me, constantly throwing me into fights I couldn't win. Look, all I'm saying is that this shit ain't your fault. People are stupid and tend to burn themselves. I said I'd come, and I'm sticking to that choice. What? Oh, there's Dylan's tail. I'm gonna hydrate real quick. Yeah, we want to give you a kiss, Dylan.
I'd rather go back to my single-digit years and be in school and not be judged by people in Gucci and doing crip walk for TikTok, okay?
Hey man, to each their own. I'd rather not go back to public school. I hated it. No child left behind. I was the child they left behind. I said I'd come, and I'm sticking by that choice. Do what you want. I ain't stopping you anymore. I got up from my chair and sat on the bed. He glared, trying to get his space back, but I didn't care. He was free to leave. I needed a moment. Emotions are dangerous. Look at the shit you're doing, getting all attached and stuff. Yeah, what the hell is that? What is that, Amethyst? That's going to bite you in the ass one day. Actually, that's good for you, isn't it? You people like that. I didn't think I could have groaned any louder upon hearing that. That joke was so bad it killed my depression. Who the fuck do you think I am? Dylan was preparing another painful response. I didn't want to hear it. I changed my mind. Don't answer that. My mood switched continuously between disappointed and disgusted. I didn't know what to expect anymore. I could feel his tail nudging me forward to create more space without any concern toward me and the fact that I'd fall on the floor. You're so annoying. Stop that. I'm bored. You're gonna ask something or not. I've got things to do. I was scared of asking about that. It was the last piece on my list, the one I've been procrastinating for a while now. He killed someone. That wasn't something you could easily justify, no matter what he will say to me. I cannot forgive such action. I couldn't help but wonder if my own safety was also in jeopardy by interacting with the murderer. Dylan was fortunate that I had spent time with him beforehand, so I could believe he wouldn't hurt me at least. I'll ask a question now. It's important that you answer it first. Oh my god, Axel, thank you for the raid. Sure, I didn't mind taking another detour. Mark assaulted, kidnapped, blackmailed, and threatened you. What? Mark assaulted, kidnapped, blackmailed, and threatened you. I didn't approve of any of those actions. I also punished him for doing what he did without asking me first. If I were to ask you to forgive Mark and grant him a second chance, would you do it? That came out of nowhere. Hearing his name brought back all that garbage I went through leading to my collapse. I refuse to hear anything other than the truth. Today had been so chaotic, I didn't get the opportunity to sort through my feelings and decide where I was standing. What should we do? Do we forgive him or tell him to fuck off? Don't forgive the Cheetos. You know what? I'm gonna create a poll. Let me do that. I'm gonna make a poll. I'm making a poll. Hiya. Hmm. Alright. The poll is there. Oh my god, hang on, hang on. Okay, okay. The poll is running. Or we're telling Mark to go fly away. Actually, I should probably save. I'm gonna create a quick save. Yay. Wait, wrong one. I thought about it and recalled the way I felt, the fear I experienced, and how in those moments I was afraid to die. My head reminded me of my regrets, my wishes, and the things I still wanted to accomplish. Alright, alright. Yeah, we're good. We're good. And yet, I wanted to forgive him. Because that was the type of person I was. I didn't want conflict, I didn't want people seeing me as an enemy. No matter how upset I felt, I remained a coward. What Mark did barely touched the surface of what he did to me. So I wanted to accept this as an apology of some sort. I wanted to move on, forget, and make everyone happy. But what about me? Was this going to make me happy? Knowing very well that this wasn't what I truly felt? Was everyone else's happiness more important than mine? I should have said yes. My childhood taught me exactly that. My feelings were a singular entity that couldn't compete against two or more. It only made sense to do what I was told to. What did I say? He had been staring at me the whole time, and his question dragged me back to him. Huh? Say it again. You want the truth. I was afraid of the truth. That was the problem. Lying was easier, safer, and kept everyone happy but me. I guess I was the only one dealing with the consequences of lying. Everyone thought I was fine, but in reality I wasn't. I can't forgive him. I immediately regretted saying that. Dylan stayed emotionless while I was the one going through all the stages of grief in rapid succession. Don't be mad, please. I need time. Shut up already. You did good and now you're trying to ruin it. Why the fuck would I be mad? You should be telling me how much you hate his guts instead. You don't care? Of course I do, but what am I going to do? Shield him from his responsibilities? He's not a fucking child anymore. It's between you and him, but I'm glad you're not letting him off the hook so easily. I felt really happy. I didn't understand why I felt this way, but I wanted to cry when he said that to me. I'll try to do what I feel is right. Great, enough of this, because your face looks like it's ready to shed tears. I guess I did get a little emotional there. Exactly, don't light yourself on fire to keep others warm. And don't waste oxygen on people who don't deserve it. Guess I did get a little emotional there. Fuck Dylan for ruining. He could have spared me that one extra comment. Now it's my turn to come clean. Yeah. He got up and turned his back on me while eyeing the window. This happened when Mark and I were still living in the slums. It was one of the hardest periods of our lives. Our gang recently fell apart. We were alone and without money to stay afloat. I was desperate. Everyone was counting on me and I couldn't let them down. I called Liam and asked for a job. Something good. Anything would have worked. I was turned down. The organization wasn't looking for more victims, especially not random garbage. Living in the slums was tough. I went many days without food. I preferred to give it to my gang first. It took some time, but he dropped me something interesting. Something that would benefit us both. You know about Claude Devine, right? He's the one in charge of the slums. That must have been what Liam asked of him. Also, have I heard that surname somewhere before? It sounded familiar. I obviously knew that man. I lived there. Why don't you rob his house? Take anything you want, sell it back for some easy cash. Yeah, Dylan was trying to replicate the discussion they were having. Now I was aware of his house. Everyone was. If you live in the slums, you would always end up asking yourself if you can steal from him. The answer is no. You can't steal from the rich. You'll die trying. He said, I can provide you with the routine, I'll give you the layout, where the alarms are, how to avoid security, basically all the tools for a perfect burglary. I was tempted, but mostly desperate. I wonder what he could possibly be gaining from this. We didn't get along with Claude at all. We were struggling to do our jobs because he's in the way. He always wanted to make everything about himself, charging taxes and taking advantage of the lower class. We all hated him, so the idea of teaching him a lesson was tempting. He reminded me why one person should never have so much power and authority. I asked Liam whether I would be able to keep everything. Then we agreed on the deal. Sounds fishy as hell. I thought Liam was going to buy them off me and use them against Claude for some unknown reason I wasn't aware of. Either that or he'd snitch on me. Both were plausible options. That's terrible. I didn't have the luxury to choose. I took Mark with me and entered his mansion. Everything went according to Liam's plan until Claude himself showed up. He wasn't supposed to be there. I'd been studying his habits and patterns. Something happened, maybe a third party intervened, but we had to keep going. Mark got greedy for extra loot and was caught by Claude in the act. Claude was armed. That cemented the fact that he suspected someone would show up that day. I had to decide between abandoning my brother and watching him get shot or killing Claude myself. You know the answer to that. I could see that burden now. The weight he carried, the pain he felt. That unjust world he was being subjected to. Killing was wrong, but if every other option failed him and the world wanted him dead, what else could he have done? He assumed Mark was alone and lowered his guard, allowing me to strike. A single knife thrown in the back of his skull. We left the body there and cleaned up. He dug through his pockets and showed me exactly what he used that night. We couldn't leave anything that was going to link us to the murder. I'd guessed that he was still carrying it. The safest thing to do was hold it instead of ditching it somewhere. We had to give up on the loot. Liam took me in as a result. Covered my tracks, and I've been working as a shadow ever since. Holy shit! I was speechless. I know I wasn't prepared for this, but this was so much worse than I thought. Dylan stood up and faced me, completely unfazed, like he had shared nothing of importance. I'm going now. He walked toward the door. Wait! He stopped, his face tilted back to me. I told you everything. That's fine, I wasn't going to ask for more. I've got things to do before the exploration. Mark's waiting for me. I see. Later, then. I watched him leave, feeling I was supposed to... I watched him leave, feeling like I was supposed to say something, but no word would actually come out. My first reaction was to console him, but wasn't that wrong? That'd be like accepting that what he did was fine. I also knew that he wouldn't accept that either. I wanted to give him a better answer, something that actually mattered and not just paying lip service. I tried moving on from this by seeking a distraction on my phone and noticed a couple of texts left by Ryan. How are you doing? Feeling better now? You didn't look so good before, so I hope you've taken a nap or something. You spent time with Dylan, yeah? Have you two talked it out yet? You can't leave me in the dark. I'm expecting to hear everything, not a single detail missing. I also wanted to say sorry for not telling you those things sooner. I understand that you wanted to be more active in my life just like I am with yours. So, I'll try to communicate more. Seems like my uncle needs help at his shop. Ugh, terrible timing. I guess you'll tell me everything later tonight. Take care! Damn it, Ryan. Reading through his messages cheered me up a little. It was exactly that warm feeling I was looking for right now. I put my phone down to look at my assignments, but that wasn't something I wanted to deal with right now. I took shelter under my bedsheets and decided to take a power nap instead. I yawned, slowly woken up by the beeping of my phone. That fucking alarm! I hated it, but I relied on it. It was the same kind of relationship you'd see in high school, a typical straight couple breaking up only to get back together the next day. Again and again. I always questioned their sanity. I had enough time to take a shower and head out. It was getting late and the moon slowly showed itself through my window. I enjoyed the view. Looking at it felt enchanting, calming my soul with its positive energy. Blake and I related on that matter at least. Walking under the moonlight was nice. I found myself staring at the moon multiple times while walking down the road, listening to nature in the background through my headphones. It was crowded, so I'd hoped to see people heading to the same place as me, but instead they would stop at the sparkling cafe sitting on the main road, not bothering to get deeper inside and find the hidden gem waiting for them. The assholes. Truly assholes. Truly disappointing. They're missing out. I stood outside the cafe, where I was able to distinguish some vague shapes, but their voices were drowned by the walls. I heard a rustling from the side of the building, and upon closer inspection, I saw a shadow moving around the corner. Russell himself? Someone else working with him? I didn't care enough to investigate further and walked in. Russell's welcoming face was the first thing I saw, sweeping the floor near the entrance. Good evening. He raised his face to stare at me a little bit, then greeted me before I'd walk away. You look surprised to see me here. You noticed that? I assumed you were in the back. I sensed movement there. Russell grunted a bit as realization struck him, then dropped the broom he was holding and rushed outside. I see. So nobody was supposed to be there. At least that was how I read his reaction. I walked up to the counter to meet our friends and received weak greetings from them. Patrice and Blake were at the front, drinking a couple of beers and whispering to one another, trying to keep their conversation to themselves. Clyde was sitting alone, isolated from the rest, sulking in his seat and checking his phone. Ryan and Liam were missing. I didn't mind waiting a little more. It's just awkward to sit in this atmosphere. Dylan was the only one who looked normal to me. And he wasn't even normal to begin with. Dylan, hey, come here. I whispered to the crocodile, hoping to get some answers. I was trying to be tactful about it. I called again, my voice raised ever so slightly. That motherfucker was ignoring me on purpose, wasn't he? I saw his body reacting to his name being called, and he shifted away from me. He really was the best at getting on my nerves. Fine. No anger. Only peaceful vibes. I was gonna walk up to him if that was what he wanted from me. I know you heard me. His eyes moved in the opposite direction. I didn't. Then he groaned. Where the fuck is Ryan so I can ditch you on him? You don't really mean that. Dylan gave me the silent treatment. Just tell me about them. He looked at me, then to the others, then back to me. True, you missed it. Did something happen while I was gone? I couldn't imagine it being anything strong enough to damage their relationship like this. Tell
It's time
me
to drink water.
everything.
It's time to drink water.
More talking? Fuck
It's
that.
time to drink water.
He pushed himself backward to get some distance, and
It's time to drink
before
water.
I could stop him, he yelled, Patrice, get your ass here! The entire room looked at us. Patrice just as stunned by that. Okay. He gave Blake a few more words and joined our table. Bro, what was that about? You know what I'm doing. Joel doesn't. And you couldn't tell him yourself? Still no answers. Forget it. Patrice glanced at me once more, and seeing the mortified expression I was wearing the whole time pitied me. You didn't ask him to do that, right? Of course not! Basically, the two had an argument over Liam. Blake wants him expelled for all the harmful pranks he has done, but Clyde believes in his innocence. Blake felt betrayed because he thinks one of those bad pranks is what scarred his eye. Liam was asked to find the real culprit to be expelled. Yep, that sums it all up. They called it the stray cat incident. Lame as fuck. So, like, he got scratched by a cat. How's Liam's fault? I heard it was done on purpose, but I've got nothing else, sorry. Nothing happened between Clyde and Blake that you don't already know about. They didn't talk it out yet, which was not a good sign. We should do something to improve the situation. Dylan chuckled, taking a swig at the beer he was holding. I'll pass. Why did I even ask? But I felt bad for leaving this in Patrice's hands. The entrance doors opened wide and Ryan barged through. Russell and Liam were also there, but my attention was mostly on the bear. I greeted everyone like always. I raised my hand in response, not really feeling like speaking back because everyone was so quiet. I heard him grunting, disappointed by the scene he was witnessing, and greeted again. I chuckled at that. Ryan didn't know what happened either, but he was trying his best. I motioned for him to join us, and when he walked closer, I noticed a tissue plugged in one of his nostrils. That explained why his voice didn't sound right to me and why I laughed earlier. Did something happen? I pointed at it and Ryan touched his nose almost as if he had forgotten until now and promptly removed it. This got a nosebleed earlier, don't worry about it. The bear seated himself exactly in the middle, connecting Dylan and I, and Patrice and Blake. Look who decided to come after all. Ryan grabbed the tiger and dragged him closer. He was right, I didn't acknowledge that Patrice was the only one who had refused the exploration, so why was he here now? My therapist thinks it's a good opportunity to test myself and see how far I've come. Blake opened his eyes, gave Patrice a quick glimpse, and chuckled. You didn't like his proposal. Is that why you're trying to get yourself drunk? Dude, come on. You don't have to call me out like that. But yeah, I'm hoping to freak out less this way. You have 7 people here you can depend on. No need to worry about being scared. I wish you were right. Yeah, let's say 5. You don't want to trust everyone. Bro, that's not what I meant. Ryan really brought the mood up. Blake started talking a little more, but Clyde still didn't really join the conversation. He did follow it silently, though. What's up with you two? I'm not stupid. I can see that you guys have unfinished business or something. They weren't really trying to hide it. Blake immediately noticed our hesitation in sharing their business. Just tell him there's no reason to keep him in the dark. Ooh, spill the tea. I took his offer and quickly gave Ryan the short version. I remember that thing. Is it still going on? I thought you guys got the culprit already. Reports say that's a masked individual. We don't really know who he is, but I can tell you very much that he resembles Liam. We get one new report every week. It's annoying to deal with and I want it gone. It's threatening Clyde's future as council president. I could feel multiple motives stemming from those words. He didn't seem to be solely interested in the justice aspect of it. He was also worried about Clyde. Which, fair, I mean, Clyde. Clyde's a fancy bitch. You gotta love and respect Clyde. Clyde is the bitch. Yes. He was also worried about Clyde. It doesn't matter. Now I'm getting what I want regardless of the method he chose. That was supposed to be positive, but he sounded bitter about it. Liam and Russell finally joined us. I didn't know what they were up to, but they were clearly waiting for this conversation to end first.
Everyone's here. That's great news for me. Shall we go over tonight's exploration?
We just kind of shrugged, not really playing along with the shenanigans. If you care even a little about your fantasies, you better move on and talk. Russell was somewhat angrier than when I left him earlier. Liam really was capable of pissing anyone off. Lynx promptly laughed him off and pulled out a book for all of us to see. Ghost Hunting for Dummies? Patrice read the cover out loud only for him to enter a laughing fit. Are you serious? That's, friendly?
I thought it was funny.
Come on now. We've gathered here to assist him in his search. Might as well see it through to the end. Hey, if this is a level of scary I have to face, I'm all for it. Okay, let's see what's in here. If it's blank, I'm going to piss my pants. Oh wait, I keep wanting to get the perfect voice on this. If it's blank, I'm going to piss my pants. The first 2 pages showed us an unfinished map of the castle with notes and ideas of new possible paths and what we could theoretically see on the way. My eyes went to the basement, the one place I considered the scariest. This is a basement after the library. Don't go in there, it's dangerous. An indoor greenhouse. What a strange location. Are you sure this is correct? I saw it myself. There's no mistake. I will take a guess and say Dylan saw it too. I did. I was the one cutting a path through the vines. I'd like to see it. The map was surprisingly useful. Helped to share information faster than I expected.
I made only 4 because we're exploring in pairs. Don't lose it. I won't be around explaining stuff.
Liam flipped to the next page, a page about ghosts and what to do if one appeared.
I wanted to make a little drawing here, but I'm not good at it.
I went ahead to read some of the text for myself, but there wasn't much to find. Red ghost, runner hide, blue ghost ignore. Why's that? Aren't they supposed to be transparent? I thought ghosts were white. That is, if they ever existed to begin with.
If they're cursed, their colors change.
Oh.
If they're cursed, their color changes.
Is that it? No explanation given? I did want to know the difference, as crazy as it sounded. Colors meant something?
It's for dummies, remember? I gave you the simplest possible version. But if you care to learn more, I did explain more at the end. I needed to make sure the most important things were in front.
I could check it out later then. Be respectful of your surroundings. Don't make noise, don't break anything, and take it slow. Patrice read another line, unimpressed. Fuck, why do I keep yawning? This sounds like a school trip. Joel compared it to a museum and you're giving it the same vibe.
You could find traps. I'd recommend running only if there's no other option available.
I suppose that makes little sense. The floor didn't look stable. I'd rather not see anyone falling through. Another page showed 2 rings. They looked exactly the same, only the stone in each was different.
My sister's most likely wearing this ring here.
Liam pointed at the blue ring in the picture. What about the red one, then? The Lynx promptly pulled out the real thing from his pocket.
This one's mine. It was a birthday gift. I'm assuming she's still wearing hers.
He also included a picture of them together, but I guess she'd most likely be unrecognizable. Can I ask you a question regarding this thing right here? Clyde brought us back to the map, addressing one of the handwritten notes Liam added. Something called a safe room, followed by multiple question marks.
It's technically clean space free of ghosts that we could use to rest and recharge.
I see. And why is it written like that?
I'm not sure of where it could be. That's why you see those question marks.
I have something important to say.
Yes?
Let's say I found your sister. What do you want me to do afterwards?
You leave her where she is, wait for me in the safe room, and I'll do the rest.
Alright, I get the gist of things now. He does? I still find this insane. Hopefully I'm not the one who finds her!
I also wrote some more hypothetical scenarios you guys can read while Ryan drives us to the castle.
He walked in my direction and handed me a similar-looking bag to the one I saw earlier. I didn't exactly register the situation properly and just took it off his hands only for the bag to drag me down with its weight. Why is it so heavy? Ryan came to my rescue and took this boulder away from me.
It's really not.
Alright, being indirectly called a weakling sure was nice. Dylan left as he took our bag from Ryan's hands. I'll carry the equipment. You're just a spectator. I should be used to it by now, but it still hurt. Are we going to split again like yesterday?
For sure, but if that doesn't reassure you guys, I'll take a look around first to double check whether it's safe.
Silence. We didn't say anything. It was a lot to take in considering how much we'd heard already today. I wouldn't blame anyone if they ever decided to step away now that we were about to leave. That is if anyone believed what he had told us. It felt as though we were passively taking it all in without actually understanding the situation. I was strangely drawn to this castle, and I didn't understand why. Was everyone else experiencing this feeling too? Time to depart, correct? Clyde took a deep breath, clutching his bag closer to his chest. I'm supposed to return this book tonight. That means I can't run away from this. Are you sure? I feel like you're trusting Liam too easily. Blake, you didn't see what I saw. He might be telling the truth after all. Let's not spoil the night. I'm not discussing this in front of everyone. Things between them were still tense regardless of how they tried to look casual about it. I understand. Clyde inhaled and exhaled, letting out small puffs of smoke and ashes. Allow me to be honest with you, Blake. I need the opportunity to do what's right instead of having my path blocked. I will give you what you want, but it has to be delivered my way. He surprised us all with that response, Blake included. His words hung in the air, leaving the wolf stunned. I disagree, but you're the one in charge. Anyhow, I'm here right now, so get a clue already. He pulled out a cigarette and walked away, but we both noticed a slight shift in his demeanor.
I'm going to pack our things. Dylan!
Just say you want me to do it. The crocodile scoffed and hurried out after him. I'll join you soon. Clyde left as well, but walked through a different exit to be alone. I need to talk with the owner. I'll check on Clyde instead, because we're partners and stuff. Let's move outside then. No reason to stay here when it's just the two of us. Blake was in plain sight, leaning against a pole, smoking his cigarette while staring at the moon. A small puff of smoke came out of his mouth and rose up into the sky after inhaling the fumes. I take it that we're going? There was a tinge of sadness in his voice. He took another long drag of his cigarette, finished the entire thing, and discarded it in the small trash bin nearby. I wanted to say something, but it felt inappropriate. Ryan placed his paw on my shoulder as we watched Blake enter the car, and I added mine on top of his. I'm sure he's been thinking about it. I know, I just wish we could speed it up. I feel you. Dylan started honking, giving us an absolutely unnecessary scare. I want to leave! He continued to honk the horn, and he most likely wouldn't stop until we joined him. I pinched the bridge of my nose, annoyed. We had been needing some noise. That's what I prevented last time. I'll get him away from the driver's seat. Ryan rushed towards the car, and I followed after him. The two were pushing each other, trying to take control over the seat, and it surprised me how much Ryan struggled to get the upper hand. Dylan must have been really tough considering he easily overpowered Patrice. I would never want to be on his bad side. We're here! Patrice joined us with Clyde in tow. The dragon silently seated himself in the corner, away from everyone else and opposite to Blake. Ryan managed to pull Dylan out in those seconds of hesitation from the others arriving, and so the squabble ended. Everyone's seated. You can drive now. I placed myself in the front seat next to Ryan, just like yesterday, and after a few hiccups, the car started and we drove back to the forest. Not everyone was talking. Some voices were missing. Clyde and Blake didn't engage in any conversation and just watched the scenery go by. How are you doing? I gave him a subconscious smile. Just seeing that he noticed and asking was reassuring me. Don't get distracted. You haven't learned the route yet. Yes, I did! Tell him, Patrice! He tends to memorize roads fast. Can't say the same for school material, though. Gonna stop at the compliment! Patrice leaned forward, placing his head between us. You're always fishing for those, but I'm the wrong person. Ryan blushed and, when he had a chance to freely move his hand, pushed him back to his seat, grumbling words under his breath I couldn't catch. Be careful! He deserved it! I found him cute. The way he reacted was one of the things I liked the most about him, especially how by looking at me he'd calm down and smile back. The campsite wasn't far, and with a few minutes left of traveling, I wanted to go back to Liam's books and read more of the flavor text in the back he mentioned. Ah, I see. Ryan briefly glanced over in my direction and saw what I was doing. I wonder how he came up with all that in such a short amount of time. I spent some time reading and discovered generic ghost trivia that personally didn't convince me, but it was interesting nonetheless. He was creative at least. I wanted to hear about the colors. Does it say why some are red, some are blue, and some others are red? It reminded me, I also wanted to check that out. I skimmed through the pages and found the flavor text I was looking for. The book says that red ghosts are evil, vengeful, and can't distinguish friend from foe. It's best to avoid them entirely or pay the consequences. Well, that wasn't so bad. I understood that perfectly, making it too complicated my ass. Blue ones instead don't care about you and can be approached with caution. It's recommended to avoid confrontation regardless. I'd love to chat with a ghost. I'm adding that to my bucket list. It says that you shouldn't because they can turn into red ghosts under certain circumstances. I feel like everything in that book wants to kill you somehow. Liam wrote it. Exactly my point. Can we drop the ghost talk now? It's not bad yet, but I'm growing uncomfortable. Oh, sorry, I didn't think you were listening. I just noticed the car had gone quiet. We must have been the only ones talking at this point, so it was basically impossible to not listen to our discussion. We've arrived. I walked out first and stretched a little. There was a strange smell in the air I couldn't quite define. Ryan waited for everyone to exit the car before locking it. I didn't need to worry about the bag. Dylan already got that handled. We gotta walk through that forest, huh? It's an awkward trail, very easy to lose your footing and hurt yourself.
Stay close to Dylan then. He can easily hold you.
That got me thinking about all the possible scenarios, and I came to the conclusion that Dylan wouldn't save anyone. Or if he truly tried, he'd reach for any part of your body within grab range, making the rescue look awkward and uncomfortable. Somehow I feel safer alone. I also don't feel like tripping tonight. Just watch where you step, you'll be fine. We walked through the main path and reached the old campfire site. This place felt nostalgic for some reason. It's only been one day, yet it didn't feel like that at all. I wanted to go back to that night. Everyone looked so much happier then, didn't they?
Okay, get closer now. I'd rather not lose any of you before reaching our destination.
The bushes and leaves rustled as he pushed them out of the way to make space for us. At first, my nose could barely pick up that strange odor, but now it was growing stronger and more present. I had no idea what it was, but I personally didn't like it. It was something I've never smelled before. Can you smell that? Smell what? Food? I narrowed my eyes, annoyed. No. Then it's a no here, too. His nose was sharper than mine, so I'd expected him to say something about it. Can you hallucinate smells? Is that even possible? I managed to get through the forest without slipping this time around. Yay! The old rusty gate was just a few steps away, so we took a small break to rest and gather up. I was happy to see Blake approaching Clyde to check on him. It's always hard to keep pretending to be upset. When you love your friends, those negative feelings never last too long. Tired? A little. I can keep going. I walked up to the main group, but slowed down in my tracks to observe Dylan and Liam instead. They were usually a bit further away from us, while staying close in proximity. Dylan was holding his nose just like I was before. He must have been feeling it as well.
You guys are done catching your breath? Let's get inside already!
Liam was growing impatient, just like last time. It was the only occasion where I've ever seen him truly upset. Trying to pop my ear. The castle's towers were now fully visible as we got closer to the main entrance. I remember that old fountain full of debris, built exactly in the middle of what could have been a small plaza in the past. We walked through, ignoring everything around us to get inside. My body shivered when a chilling wind began blowing behind us, almost trying to push us in. It wasn't raining, at least. Liam pushed the door open, making us hear that awful creaking noise again. A putrid, disgusting smell welcomed me when I stepped into the lounge. It was unbearable, so strong and pungent I was tearing up, and breathing through my shirt did nothing. Dylan began cursing out loud, only for a sudden coughing to stop him. This is bad! The atmosphere. This place wasn't the same anymore. I could tell something happened here while we were gone. What was that smell? I've never smelled something so rancid before. It's like rotting, expired food. Nope, that will never be so powerful. You okay? Why are you holding your shirt like that? You don't
Feel it!
feel what? I glanced over my friends and realized that not everyone was affected. It was impossible to ignore even if you tried. I didn't know ghosts had an odor. This shit's going to make my nose bleed! Is this one of those things normal people can't sense? I'm content with not knowing. Then describe it to me.
Of course I don't smell. This is...
Liam held his tongue, uncertain about revealing that information. The ground's moving. An earthquake? Everyone out, now!
Wait, don't leave!
Liam tried to keep the group close to him, but that didn't make sense. It wasn't safe for us to stay inside, not until the shaking had stopped. It started weak, but slowly built its way up to a strong, violent movement. The kind that wouldn't let you walk without tripping. I don't wanna die! Patrice was horrified, and before anyone could get out, shoved us out of the way to attempt to leave first. He had worked so hard not to panic, but nothing could have prepared him for natural calamity. Another person, faster than Patrice and agile enough to not lose balance, sprinted past all of us and tackled the tiger down. Stay the fuck here! Dylan was now sitting on top of Patrice and yelled at us while blocking the way. I was confused and concerned. This wasn't the time to argue, but he was keeping us from leaving, sending glares our way. What are you doing? If this place collapses, we're going to die. The tiger begged and cried from below, unable to set himself free, causing Ryan to take action. That's enough! Let him go, we can't stay here. My head had also began throbbing. The earthquake and the infighting wasn't enough, apparently. Rocks began falling outside near the entrance where Patrice would have been. That quickly turned into a rock slide that ended with a giant boulder crashing in front of the door, locking us in. A massive wave of dust and sand formed upon impact, creating a wall of smoke that decreased our visibility. I could barely even see myself, but that didn't matter. I was hoping the others were unharmed. Is everyone okay? I could hear Patrice's crying voice even before Ryan yelled. We all gathered around Patrice and felt relieved upon seeing them all safe and sound. That was it. The earthquake stopped. Everything was quiet again, and we all watched in horror at the end result. Shut up! Dylan tried in vain to make Patrice stop. Okay, fine. He refused to get up until the tiger had calmed down. We're trapped! We're trapped! We're trapped! Calm down. We can always escape through the windows. Technically, we didn't know how much damage the castle had received, but we had to find a different way out regardless.
You should be thankful Dylan saved your life just now.
I could feel the disdain in his tone. He didn't seem to care at all about Patrice's mental state. Of course, we all acknowledged that the way Liam said that was just wrong. Patrice began gasping for air. I knew exactly what that meant and what he was going through. He's hyperventilating. You have to move. I'm serious. Dylan reluctantly obliged and Clyde rushed to his side. Can you focus on me? I'm here to help you. Clyde gently rolled him around to make eye contact. Patrice slowly nodded in response. I'm going to pinch your nose. Try your best and do your best and try breathing through one of your nostrils. Okay? Another nod from Patrice, seeing his breathing slowing and stabilizing, cheered us up for the time being. Patrice hugged Clyde tight. He was clearly scared and upset. Clyde reassured him, giving him back the same hug. We should look for an exit and get Patrice and Clyde back to the car. If Liam wants to keep playing games, he can.
We can't leave. If you try that again, Dylan will save you from becoming an omelet.
What are you talking about? That was a coincidence, wasn't it? Please, nobody can artificially cause an earthquake.
I don't expect you to believe everything I'm saying, but at least understand that this place isn't the same as yesterday. You can feel that, right?
I was afraid to admit it.
Then look around the lounge, see if you can figure it out.
What is he talking about? Try not to listen. I don't want you to have another episode. Something different about the lounge itself? It was hard to tell now with this dust cloud around us. I took Liam's book from the bag and compared their current room with the map. Wait, the layout. Has it changed? Ryan took it from my hands to see himself. Huh? It's just a drawing. Surely it's not too different from... Okay, are you guys remembering it right? Because if we trust the map, then... Are you trying to say the walls moved and changed position? Of course not! But how can we explain this? We just went through a fairly strong earthquake. The map isn't reliable anymore. Russell walked up to the boulder and pushed. Maybe we can just move it out of the way? Let me try. Be careful. We can't see if there's more than one and you could get hurt. The two combined their strength, but the rock didn't budge an inch from where it landed. It's stuck! Liam rolled his eyes, approaching Patrice and helped him up.
Can you walk on your own?
I guess so!
Let's find that safe room and have them stay there for now.
Sure. Better than seeing them on the floor. It could be anywhere. I'd rather wait here until you find it.
I do know where it is now.
You said you were unsure.
That was before the earthquake and before the room layout suddenly changed. A safe room is not affected by any of this, and there's only one hallway that's still accurate to my map.
Liam walked to the right toward one of the hallways.
Follow me.
I hadn't talked much with Dylan ever since we left the cafeteria. I avoided pointing it out because we did spend time together at my house, and I got him to talk quite a lot. Hey. Dylan was still holding his nose, scouting our surroundings with more awareness than yesterday. This fucking smell is messing with my talent! I didn't understand how it worked, just what it was meant to do. Was his nose the catalyst to use his power? Get focus on it! It wasn't necessarily the nose then. I need space, gotta figure out how to deal with it. Crocodile scurried away to the front next to Liam. Keep trying, we'll get him to open up eventually. I felt embarrassed, knowing that he had been watching us the whole time. Thanks. Another prayer into my hat was added to the counter. Dylan acts tough, but he cares. That's what I'm saying. Don't let it get to you. I didn't like what he was implying. We were only friends. Besides, did he forget who I was talking to? I was already impressed by the fact Dylan didn't call me a slur yet. Isn't it weird? Not a single door is opening. Ryan said it first, but everyone must have been thinking the same as I watched them all trying and failing to open them. Liam kept walking straight ahead. Did he know they were all locked without checking first? There's the same situation again. Expand on that. We're following a path someone else made for us, like it's on purpose.
Some doors are just for show. Most likely fake to create hesitation and anxiety.
I feel none of that. You can take your time and inspect everything.
You're not being chased yet.
Chased? Did he fucking say chased? I am absolutely not leaving this room once we get there.
Good to hear, 'cause it's here.
The doors at the end of the hallway led to the dining hall, no doubt about it. They effortlessly spread open for all of us, and Liam stepped inside first. Or that's what I thought would happen. He instead stopped on the border between the two, staring at something up ahead. I could see a faint light through the gaps, but I couldn't make it out until I got closer. Some candles were sitting on that table, giving a nice warm light to the dark environment around us. On any other occasion, I would have liked to see this because I like candles. But here, if none of us did that, then there's only one possible explanation. We should leave. If someone else is here, things could get difficult to handle.
Get inside. Let's sit down and discuss this.
You're really testing my patience here. We did as he asked and fully entered the room. It's early as hell. I'm aware of it. However, I'm wanting to do an extra stream in the Discord server, so we're going to leave off here tonight. I think cats might like this one. Scented candles. Yas. Yeah, I plan on doing an extra stream tonight. Well, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.